Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are going to learn three important concepts when you are writing the solution for a problem, when you are writing an algorithm, when you are writing steps to solve a problem. So you have to learn these important concepts. Okay, in this video I'm going to explain only three. The first one is sequence. Sequence means the order of the instructions. That is very important. The incorrect order can lead to incorrect result. If your order is correct, that means you have successfully solved the problem. So let me give you a small example so that you can understand how the order is important. For example, I am asking the user to input length and then input width, and I wanted to calculate the area of an object, and then I will display that area. So this is a small program. Okay, this is a solution to problem. The user will input only two things, that is the length and width, and your program will calculate area, and then that area will be output on the screen. So now this is the correct sequence, okay, and this will lead to find the correct area. So now let's see if I change the order. So what will happen? Now I am calculating the area at the start and then asking the user input length and input width and output area. Now you can clearly see this is an incorrect sequence. Okay, this will not give you the correct result because it doesn't make sense that you calculate the area at the start even before inputting the values. You haven't provided the input and you want to calculate the area first, because the computer will follow executing this program from the first instruction to downwards. It will face the first instruction that says calculate the area, but there is no value for the length and width. ये कैसे कैलकुलेट करेगा? लेंथ एंड विड्थ आप बाद में दे रहे हो. So you can relate it with a real life example. For example, the correct sequence is you go to a shop. For example, you have ordered a burger and then you have paid it and then you have eaten it. So now if we change the sequence, first you go to shop, you eat the burger and then order. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so the order is very important and that is called the sequence. Okay, now let's do the second thing. So second important thing is the selection. Selection means taking decision based on a condition. So choosing between a path based on that condition. For example, there is a voting system where it says कि okay, any person who is above 18 can vote and who is 18 or less is not eligible to vote. Okay, so now the 18 is a condition. So how we convert it into the pseudocode and how we can apply the selection. So for selection we use if statement, remember, but before that we are inputting the age and now we are checking the condition. If age is greater than 18, then take this action. What action? Output you can vote, else output you cannot vote. So after inputting age, the program will decide which direction, which route, which path to follow. So depending upon this, if this condition applies, then it will go to this side. So this will be the correct route. Okay, if this condition is false, it will go to this route. Okay, so we have already provided which route, which path to follow based on this condition. So every time you have to see, before taking decision, you have to see that given condition. Okay, let me give you another example. For example, you are asked to decide whether the input number is a positive or negative. Okay, so you will have to set a condition in your mind, how I can decide between the positive and negative number. So any number which is above 0, you already know, is considered positive. 0 or above, that is considered positive, and any number which is below 0 is negative. So we have set a condition now. Okay, now ask the user, input a number. If number is greater than, if you want to include 0, okay, greater than equal to 0, then output positive number, else output negative number. After inputting the number, so this is the condition to be checked. Okay, so it says which route, which path you have to follow. If this condition is true, you have to follow this path. Okay, if this condition is false, you have to follow this path. Okay, if the number is greater than or equal to 0, this message will appear on the screen. Otherwise, this message will appear on the screen. There are a lot of other examples in your book, so you can see those examples after watching this video. Hopefully, you will be able to understand it. Okay, the third part is iteration. Iteration means to repeat set of statements. We also use a word loop. It has the same meaning: loop, repetition, iteration. Okay, so the main two types of iteration are, number one is count controlled loop, and the second type is condition controlled loop. Okay, this condition controlled loop will further have two subtypes, and the first is the pre-condition and post-condition. Now let me explain one by one what is the meaning of these different types of loop or different type of iterations. Number one, that is count control loop. Okay, this loop will run for fixed number of times. That means the number of repetitions must be known in advance. So for example, if you are asked to repeat a statement 10 times, that means you already know how many times you are going to repeat that statement. Okay, so for this count control loop, so the keyword that we use is the for to next. I will also give you an example of this, how we actually use it. These are the keywords that we use. We will write the start, where we are going to start the loop, to to stop, where we are going to end. And here we will write certain statements which we are going to repeat. So whatever you will see between these two words for next, if there are a single statement or group of statements, that will be repeated for this number of times. Okay, let's apply it with a real type data. For this was the general format. One to 10. What we are going to repeat? Output welcome. So now when we run this code, this statement will be repeated 10 times. Okay, the first step will start, the count will start from 1, okay, and it will end at 10 when it has taken 10 steps, 10 repetitions. Okay, now coming towards the condition control loops. So the precondition, for precondition we use the word while. Here we are going to write a certain condition and we will write the statement here. And while and while, whatever we write inside these two words, so this will be repeated how many times? That depends on the condition. Now let me give you a real example. Now let's see how this will work. The count start from 1, okay. Now it will check the condition. Okay, while the count is less than equal to 5, yes, the condition is true. So once this condition is true, the loop starts executing its body. This is the body of the loop. Whatever statement you write inside these two words, while and end while, those will be repeated depending upon this condition. Okay, first time it will output count, that means it will output 1. Okay, it will add 1 to count, now the count will become 2. Now again it will check the condition. Okay, still the count is less than 5. Okay, so it will output 2 now, because it will enter the loop body, it will output 2, and now the count will be again incremented. 2 plus 1, now it will become 3. Now the 3 is still, still this condition is true because it is less than 5. Okay, and then it will enter the loop body, now it will output 3. It will increment count, that means 3 plus 1, now it will become 4. Again it will check its condition, yes, it is still true, it will output 4. Okay, after outputting 4, it counts, it increments with 1, now the count will become 5. It goes back, still it says, okay, now it is 5. Okay, remember, now the condition is count is less than equal to 5. Yes, it is also true because now it's 5, because it says either it is less than or equal to 5. Yes. Now again it will enter into the loop body. It will output 5. Now it will increment with 1. Now the count will become 6. Now this condition will become false. Okay, because it says okay, while the count is less than equal to 5, keep repeating these two statements. Okay, if the count is not less than 5, let's say it becomes 6 now at the moment, this loop will break without entering into its body. So this 6 will not be repeated. So this will work till 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now coming towards the post condition loop, let me erase this. Okay, one more point about this precondition loop. If you give count 6 at the start, this loop, now the condition is not true. This loop will not even start. Okay, so this depends, that's why it is called the precondition. Okay, once the condition is false at the start, this loop will not run. Okay, it must run if the condition is true only. Now coming towards the post condition. For post condition, we use the word repeat until. Okay, let me give you an example. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. Now let's see how this loop works. The count starts with 1. Okay, now the loop enters its body without checking any condition. So this loop will run at least once, even the condition is true. Okay, because it is checking the condition at the end, but the precondition loop checks the condition at the start. Repeat until or the post condition loop checks the condition at the end. So this loop will run at least once even if the condition is true. That is very important point. Now let's run this code so that you can understand how this loop works. Count equal to 1. Okay, we are assigning count with the arrow. Okay, repeat, that means it is entering the loop body without checking any condition. It outputs count. So first of all, the count is 1, so it will output 1. If we run, this will be the output 1. Now it increments count will become 2. It checks the condition. If the condition is true, this loop will break, this loop will terminate, but still the condition is not true because the count is 2. Okay, it will go back and output count. That means now it will output 2. It will increment. Now the count will become 3. Still the condition is not true. Okay, it will go back and output count 3. Okay, and it will increment that count again. So the count will become 4. Still the condition is not true. It will go back. It will output 4. After outputting 4, now the count will become 5. Still the condition is not true. Okay, it will go back and output 5. Now after outputting 5, now if it increments count, now the count will become 6. Now the condition is true. This loop will break. So it will also output 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've given the same example I've used the same example using two different loops. Okay, so this was about the iteration. So we have learned there are main two categories of iteration: counter controlled or count controlled loop. That means this loop will run for fixed number of times. That means the repetitions must be known at the start. So you must know how many times you are going to repeat a loop. While in condition controlled loop, a certain condition has to be checked. Okay, the precondition loop checks the condition at the start. Okay, if the condition is false at the start, this loop will not run. Okay, so the condition must be true. The other was the post condition loop. It checks the condition at the end. Okay, and it will execute at least once even if the condition is true. Okay, so once the condition is true, this loop will terminate. Okay, so this was all about iteration. Thank you so much.